What's up, everybody? So, Dawn of War as a series has been a lot of fun, but it's also been a series that kind of, I think, was doomed to kind of shoot itself in the foot, and Dawn of War 3 finally has done so. I've enjoyed my time in the Dawn of War series, Dawn of War 1, through all of it. Um, I've been involved with it since the beginning. I got to do a bit of beta testing for Dawn of War 1, play through it all, every expansion of Dawn of War 1, every expansion of Dawn of War 2, and I played through Dawn of War 3. And unfortunately, it seems like that's the end of the Dawn of War series for now. I don't know if they'll revisit it or what they'll do to try and breathe life into it, but because of Dawn of War 3's underperformance, they are pulling the plug on any major expansion support for it. What they will do for it in its place, if anything, remains to be seen. But it got me thinking about the Dawn of War series, about really a pivotal gaming series for 40k when it comes to video gaming. Because I think it's done a lot of good, both for video gaming and 40k being involved in it, I should say, as well as getting people involved in a hobby that they will enjoy that they might not otherwise gain access to if they didn't know about Dawn of War, for example. There have been games before Dawn of War, but they were more few and far between. And ever since Dawn of War's success, we've seen you could say, in comparison, an explosion of 40k games coming to the scene. So, with that said, Dawn of War 3, it yet again followed the formula of Dawn of War 1 and 2, which is to shake up your formula completely. Dawn of War 1 and Dawn of War 2 was a big change in how you played the game. And they did that yet again with Dawn of War 3. And this is why we had some inexcusable, I should say, issues in Dawn of War 3, such as kind of the user interface being a little clunky, not really getting all that much information on how you manage your heroes and use them and what leveling up truly means, as well as your stratagems and why to use what you use, how they work exactly. It just wasn't very well explained, which is just inexcusable for a third game in the series, a third numbered game in the series. But this is because they've never stuck to one formula that works. Compare this to StarCraft. For yes, StarCraft to StarCraft 2, there have been changes, but its core formula remains intact. If you played one of the games, you could play the other one with little learning curve outside of the meta, if you will, of combinations of stuff. Not so in Dawn of War 1 and Dawn of War 2. There's definitely a relearning of how to play the game, basically, and that is true also with Dawn of War 3. They've cited the MOBA feel as also being kind of a part of its underperformance. I didn't really get a vibe like that at all, but I could see what people might have. Kind of the rock, paper, scissors mentality, but it, chalked up to 11 in Dawn of War 3 doesn't help either. And the campaign, while fun, and I enjoyed it, it forces you to be every race. Now, Dawn of War Vanilla and Dawn of War 2 Vanilla, you were Blood Ravens. Once you got the ability to be all their races, or their factions, or even Chaos Tainted or not, you got to play more so how you wanted. Meaning, in Dawn of War 1, if you wanted to be Tau in one of the expansions and do the campaign for that expansion as Tau, you could. That doesn't mean the Tau are the canon ending, however, it just means you could do so. In Dawn of War 2, if you wanted to be Tyranids in Retribution, you could. It doesn't necessarily mean that Tyranids are the canon ending either. And there is a canon ending for every Dawn of War game, and it's cool that you can do that, or you can just play it how you want and have fun with whatever faction you want. Dawn of War 3 nixed that, and in its place, you play a third of the campaign with every faction. This, I feel, was a bigger issue than they may have foreseen, because the factions are different. Despite the rock, paper, scissors mentality being alive and well, kind of dumbing down or watering down, I should say, how the factions, rank specialists feel in comparison to each other, they still do things differently with the Eldar and the Orcs and the Space Marines really having different ways to build up your economy and your forces. And if you don't like one or are not particularly good with one, a third of the game can be an absolute train wreck for you, especially towards the later end of it, because as you get into the later missions for each race, they get harder and harder, difficulty scaling as it happens in strategy games. So if you just don't have good experience or good capability or just don't like a particular force, it's going to make those particular missions feel like a drag. And thus, if you like Space Marines or like Eldar, you just feel like you're not going to get enough of those missions because there's only a third of them are going to be that. It's the campaign split up amongst the 3 races you see. So there's that. That doesn't help either. And I think all of that together led to some underperformance, obviously, for Dawn of War 3 to the point where they're not giving any major expansions for it. It's a real shame because it's a fun series for sure. And Dawn of War 3 was fun to play. I just think if they were a bit neater about it, if they didn't divert every time they did a new numbered game, Dawn of War 3 would have been much more well received potentially. With that said, though, it is what it is. We're probably not going to see Necrons at all, as they were kind of built up to be. Spoiler alert, I guess, my bad. But at this point, does it really matter? We're probably not going to see a major expansion for that. They are changing up their plan for it. Now, what that means, how clever lingo it is for we're going to do nothing with it, I don't know. I'm not in their shoes. But they definitely stated no major expansions as they previously foreseen doing, which is just not going to happen. So Dawn of War as a series looks like it finally tuckered out and petered out with Dawn of War 3, unfortunately. I think they could introduce a Last Stand style of mode with Dawn of War 3. I think the infrastructure is there, and I think that might help just keep people interested in playing it, which I don't know what good that would do for them, but hey, it's something. With that said, however, I think Dawn of War as a series was a great success. There's been a lot of miniature wargamers in the different hobby stores I've visited that got involved with the hobby because of Dawn of War. They might play Dark Eldar, they might play whatever, but they got into the setting because of Dawn of War. It's kind of like how MechWarrior was for me back in the day. I got into BattleTech, years and years ago because of MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries. So I definitely see the merit in something like this for both video gaming and then getting into whatever it's based off of, if it is based off anything. So a lot of that happened for 40k fans and 40k players because of Dawn of War. I'm not saying it's such a huge amount that 40k would be nothing without it, not at all. But I think it's definitely worth mentioning. You would have a good chance of going to a local gaming store and finding somebody who got into the hobby because of Dawn of War. And that says something. On top of that, where games were few and far between before Dawn of War, we got a lot of games for better or worse in terms of quality and whatnot in this 40k setting because of Dawn of War's success, I feel anyway. A lot of fun games out there. I played a few myself. A lot of, we have some still in development with the announcement of a Mechanicum video game on Warhammer Communities page pretty recently coming as well. So a lot of stuff still happening on the video gaming side for 40k that I don't think we would really be seeing if Dawn of War flopped or never existed. But because Dawn of War 1 was a success, you don't get that many expansions and then a nice sequel for not being a success at that point. And Dawn of War 2 is still played and well received, and people still do a Last Stand even now. I think all of that we can definitely cite as reasons why we've seen a bunch of 40k video games come and go throughout the years, as well as some still being made. And I think that's also worth mentioning as well. So really that's all my thoughts on the Dawn of War series. They've been a lot of fun. They kind of play with fire a bit and constantly changing things up. Now, Dawn of War 1, all its expansions follow its own formula. Like I said, they have Dawn of War 2 changed it up, and then its expansions kept with that formula. Dawn of War 3's formula, I think, is why it's underperforming, but theoretically, if it got a major expansion, they would be following the same formula too. If they were to try and save it, they would basically have to either remake it or make a whole new Dawn of War game, because the core of Dawn of War 3, how it is, I think is the underperformance problems that people have had with it. With that said, I'm not trying to shortchange the game. I had a lot of fun with it. I did. I enjoyed myself with it. But I can definitely feel the misgivings people have when I look back at it. And as far as ranking it, it'd probably be the weakest in the Dawn of War franchise. Clearly, it's been underperforming. So hopefully, it's not just outright abandoned and forgotten. It'd be a shame for Dawn of War to kind of peter out that way, even though that's kind of seeming like it is. Maybe the developers will try something out to kind of get people to, spend a couple bucks here, $5 there, do something to kind of generate interest and see if they can somehow turn it around. Although I kind of doubt it at this juncture. Anyways, thanks very much for sticking through my ramblings. Share your thoughts on the Dawn of War series and Dawn of War 3 or any of the Dawn of War games in specifics for yourself. They've been a fun ride. I remember betaing Dawn of War 1 back in the day for a bit, so I've been with it since its very beginning. And it's been a fun series, and it will be sad to see it peter out this way like it seems to be doing, but hey, it happens. And we got fun 40k games out because of it, as well as others being developed. One in particular I want to talk about a little bit later, once I get a bit more seat time with it. Anyways, that's it. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks very much for sticking through it, and until next time, take it easy.